Hello all. In Dr. Nilima Vyasa's video, we have seen what alt text is, where we use it, and why we use it. In this video, we will touch upon the different aspects of alt text and its categories. These are the two terminologies that I would be using in the videos, alt text and the surrounding text. As we already know, alt text is the text alternative for images. Surrounding text is the content around an image, and this includes caption or the content in the main body text of, say, a chapter in an ebook. When we say surrounding text, it always implies the supporting text of the image. Now, an alt text has two main parts, short alt text and long alt text. All images must have short alt text. So what is short alt text? It is a brief description of an image, not more than 250 characters in length. This character limit may vary, give or take 75 characters, depending on publisher preferences. A short alt text should be brief and it should convey the most important information of an image. This also gives an introduction to the image. When we write a short alt text, we need to ensure that it stands alone, meaning the listener should be able to understand what the image is about without listening to the long alt text. Obviously, the details will be in the long alt text, but what those details are about should be covered in the short alt text. Sometimes 250 characters is insufficient to describe an image thoroughly. In that case, we add long alt text to the image. Long alt text has no character limit and we write it for complex images. When I say that a long alt text has no character limit, I don't mean that one can write as descriptively as they feel. One must write it as short as possible while also being thorough. Avoid using descriptive language to write an alt text. Write in a clear, crisp language to convey the information required. This is absolutely important because doing otherwise will impede the understanding of a visually impaired person, making it difficult for them to retain the information from our alt text. One thing you must remember is that all images must have short alt text, but they may or may not have long alt text. We have long alt text only when the description couldn't be accommodated within the short alt text. Next, we move on to the type of images. Here I mean the classification of images based on the complexity. Broadly, we classify images into two types, decorative and non-decorative images. We will have a look at non-decorative images later. First, let's have a look at what decorative images are. Decorative images are those that are added for aesthetic purposes. Some examples may include stock images that we sometimes come across in books, or images that add no real value to the context but are only there to provide relief to the readers from blocks of text. If the information in the image has been described in the surrounding text, then the image is considered to be decorative. When images are sufficiently described by the surrounding text, we don't write alt text for them. And then icons. Some projects have a lot of icons for headings, for boxes, for table titles, as section separators. So although those are images, we won't be writing alt text for them because they are for aesthetic purposes. It does not provide any additional information both for the reader and listener. Imagine, would this text stand alone without that image or the icon? Then those are decorative images. I have some examples here to show what decorative images are. In this image, it may seem like it's a part of the text, but it is actually a page header from an ebook. The image shows a bowl of fruits and is accompanied by a question, have you had your phytochemicals today? There is no reference to the bowl in that question. Furthermore, as mentioned previously, since this is a header image, it would be decorative since they do not convey any additional information. This is one example of decorative images. Over here, we see this photo of a woman speaking in a room. The caption says, Jenny presenting at Lake Elementary, Vista Unified School District, California. We know that she is presenting and that she is talking to a group. Because that's being explained, this image also wouldn't require alt text since it falls under decorative category. This is an image of Pluto taken by a spacecraft. Everything necessary has been described in the caption. There is no new information that we could provide in our description. So this also falls under decorative category. Here we see this photo of a man being escorted by federal agents. The caption gives the name of the man, Martin Shkreli, who is escorted by federal law enforcement agents and when he is escorted. This again would not require description since all of this has been explained in the caption. Now let's see some example of icons. We have an icon here of a spotlight. This is a recurring icon in this ebook which does not require alt text. This is another icon that is decorative. And here's another icon that also doesn't require alt text. So basically, decorative images do not require alt text at all. We mark them as decorative and we move on to the next image. A quick recap. Decorative images are those that are added for aesthetic purposes, that is sufficiently described by surrounding text, and that are design elements. Next, we will move on to non-decorative images. Non-decorative images can be broadly classified into three types: simple, moderate, and complex. Depending on publisher preferences, this may change, but it is usually these three categories. We will see in detail about each type, how we can classify them, and some examples for each type. First, let's have a look at simple images. Simple images are usually photos, simple graphs, and illustrations, and they take less than 10 minutes to write. They usually fit within the character limit of the short alt text. We have some examples over here. The first image on the left shows the type of needles. We don't see the caption here, but with the surrounding text, you would have a better understanding of what the image is. We would be describing the structure of the needles in this image, that one is bent and the other is upright. In the second image, we see a graph. Here, we may have to write the description in the long alt text, but the writing would take less than 10 minutes. The third image is a photo of a river, which also doesn't require much description. I have here some examples which you can have a look at. You can pause the video to read the description before moving on to the next one. Next, let's have a look at moderate images. They require longer descriptions. They require more understanding, and it takes approximately 20 minutes to write descriptions for these images. They include graphs with more data set, simple flow diagrams, and photo series. Photo series are images where there are more than one photo under a caption. Photo series that fall under moderate category have more than 3 photos in them. In the line graph we see here, there are 3 data sets which require description separately. Since more time would be required to interpret this data, they fall under moderate. Simple flow diagrams like these, which are not branched, are also moderate images. I have here some examples which you can have a look at. You can pause the video to read the description before moving on to the next one. Now we will have a look at complex images. They consist of longer and more descriptions, and they take approximately 30 minutes to write. Complex images include complex graphs, for example, line graphs with 7 to 8 different lines, multi-part illustrations, flow diagrams with multiple branches, maps with regions shaded based on the legend provided, like, for example, a map of India which shows different types of vegetation, where there is a legend indicating what pattern is used for each type of vegetation, and using this legend we will be writing a description. Images like these would fall under complex category. The first image we see here is a 6-part illustration, and the second image is a branching flow diagram, both of which would require more explanation and more time to understand. I have here some examples which you can have a look at. You can pause the video to read the description before moving on to the next one. In the next video, we will look at how to write alt text effectively. Thank you.